everybody, and welcome to our Study at ACU Guarantee Application Process and Student Panel for the ACT New South Wales and Queensland. My name is Brodie. I'm the Future Students Lead here at ACU ACT Campus. It's a bit of a mouthful, all those ACs. We're joined tonight by Ben Griffin, who is our National Manager, Tertiary Admission Centre Processes in our Student Administration team, and Amelia, who is one of our ACU Guarantee recipients and current ACU student at Brisbane campus, studying the Bachelor of Commerce. Before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge that we are on Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander traditional country today, and in recognition of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people's spiritual and cultural connection to country, and in continuing ACU's commitment to reconciliation, it is customary to acknowledge the country as we pass through it. I'm coming to you tonight from Ngunnawal country. Today, we acknowledge and pay our respects to the First Peoples, the traditional owners and custodians of the lands and waterways. We thank them for their continued custodianship. We acknowledge and celebrate the continuation of a living culture that has a unique role in this region. We acknowledge elders past and present and thank them for their wisdom and guidance as we walk in their footsteps. I'm going to hand over now to Ben, our National Manager, Tertiary Admission Centre Processes, who's going to go through this process. At the end of the process, there will be time for you to ask questions. We will also hear a little bit from Amelia about her experience applying as an ACU Guarantee student. So thank you, Ben.
Thank you, and thank you everyone for joining us today. So I'm pleased to advise we've now commenced our third intake of ACU Guarantee. Applications did open a bit over a week ago on July 18, and applications will remain open until the 23rd of September. So the program, it considers your Year 11 results to estimate a predicted ATAR, and applicants can include optional statements, which can help you qualify for up to 10 additional adjustment factors. Applications, they're submitted through the ACU online portal, and there is no application fee to apply. Offers will be made in fortnightly rounds starting as early as Thursday, the 28th of July, so tomorrow. So that's very exciting. Just before I move on, I did want to make a point. We are making offers tomorrow. I did want to let anyone know here that we do have a slight delay for offers to our teaching courses. So when you apply for a teaching course, you need to fill out a teaching questionnaire before you're eligible for an offer. So we just had a slight delay assessing those in time. So don't stress if you applied for a teaching course and you don't hear anything tomorrow. There'll be another round in 2 weeks' time and plenty more after that. So through the offer rounds, students will also be notified if there are any specific prerequisites that you need to meet, or if your offer is conditional. The next slide, please. So we get a lot of questions, is it just based on your academic results? So the answer is no. So we do consider a range of different areas to give students adjustment factors. So you'll see on the screen here, we have a fair few different categories. So we offer adjustment factors for students that live in rural or regional areas. If you're attending a school that has a strong relationship with us, if you identify as Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander, or if you're the first person in your family to attend university. Now, as previously mentioned, we also do have an optional statement that students can complete. So there are 3 sections. You can write up to 200 words in each of these, and you'll be outlining your circumstances and your motivation to study at university. So these categories are impact through empathy, impact over adversity, and impact for family. And we'll talk about these a little later on. Next slide, please. So the next few slides, I'm just going to take you through a quick run through of what the application portal looks like. So this first slide is where you'll enter your student number and PIN and biographical information. There is a help icon on the screen, which will give you an example of the format that you should be using in the state you're applying in. So we've got that the information there on to the right. So that'll give you an example of the format and how many numbers are in your student number. I know we get given a lot of different numbers these days. The next slide, please. So on this next slide, students, this is where you start to fill out your personal details. So a few important things. So it's very important that you don't use your school email. This is how we'll contact you with offer information and information down the track. So if you were to get an offer or later in the year, often you can't access your school email anymore. So we definitely recommend that you use a personal email address. We also recommend that you make the UAC email address on the screen a safe sender. We also usually give you this information when you preference a course. You'll get told about this as well. And also your address. So it needs to be your primary residence and not a PO box, for example. Next slide, please. So the next step is your qualifications. So if you're in New South Wales, often this information will auto-populate for you. But if it's not there, you'll see on the right, it's basically you're filling in where you're completing year 12 at the moment and what school you're attending, etc. So that's pretty straightforward. Next slide, please. So once your secondary studies, you've put them in, or if they're there, you've checked them. This next slide is where you can upload your semester or end of year results if required. Again, in New South Wales and the ACT, we are fortunate enough that we do automatically get your results. So this step usually will not be required. If it is, we would let you know, and you'll get multiple updates throughout the program being open if something else needs to be provided. Next slide, please. So this is where you can submit your preferences. So what courses you want to apply for. So through our early entry program, we allow students to select up to 2 preferences. So usually your number 1 preference is the course that you want to do the most. We do have multiple offer rounds, so you can change your preferences each fortnight. You can also get more than 1 offer through the program, which is a really good benefit. We do have a few courses that aren't available through the early entry program. So these are on our ACU Guarantee FAQ website. There's a list of courses that we don't offer through the program. An example, in Victoria, we can't offer teaching programs because students need to get a selection rank of 70 from high school before they're admitted. So you can search all the courses, or you can check our website for the ones that are not included in the program. The next slide, please. So this is where you can fill out your optional personal statement. So your personal statement can add more weight to your application by sharing your personal circumstances and achievements. So just to reiterate that it is optional. If you're unsure what to write whilst you're doing your application, you can skip this part and do it after you've submitted, or you can stop at this stage, draft it in a Word document if you need to think about it. The only thing we don't ask you to do is put some information in there and submit it, because if you do put information in there and submit, you can't edit this down the track. So yeah, just to reiterate, you can draft it in Word and put it in and submit at this stage, or we'd recommend coming back into your application later on, and you can fill this out at a later stage. The next slides. So what is the personal statement? So we have a fair few examples on our ACU Guarantee website to help you what to write. And there's also detailed help guidelines within the portal to assist you to respond to the 3 questions. So some of the examples that we're looking for are, I'm a good candidate for university because, so things like your contribution to your local community, perhaps volunteering or charity work whilst you're studying in high school, or work to improve the environment. The other one, experiences which have negatively affected your most recent study. So things like financial hardship, family displacement, And the last one, who are you? So an opportunity to tell us who you are. So you might have had significant family or caring responsibilities, emotional or physical support for family members, or you might be a refugee or an asylum seeker. Next slide, please. So this final slide is where you get to review, check over your application before submitting. So you get to see your preferences there. Good thing to check that not only is the course correct, but the campus. So we are a national university. We have campuses in Queensland, Victoria. So just checking that you've chosen the right campus. Again, this is your final chance to check your personal statement if you've put information there. So if you have chosen to fill it out already, just check that everything you wanted to say is in there. But again, if you've left it blank, that's fine. You can submit and you can come back to that at a later stage. Next slide, please. So after submission, you'll get to the manage your application area. So from here, you can download a confirmation of your application, and then you can also choose to manage your application. There'll also be a notification box here if there are any tasks outstanding. So I mentioned before, if you've chosen to apply for a teaching course, we asked you to do a teaching questionnaire on why you want to be a teacher. If you apply for a nursing course, for example, there's an English declaration for nursing courses. Next slide, please. So the manage dashboard. So this is where if you haven't done your personal statement, for example, you can come back in here and fill those out. It's where you can change your preferences in between the rounds. You can upload documents and track the status of your application as well. Next slide. So that's a really quick run through what the portal looks like. So hopefully that helps you a bit. And that's just about it from me. So happy to answer any questions anyone might have.
Thanks for that, Ben. I will leave this slide up for a little while. We will get to as many questions as we can today. But if you do have a question that we don't get to today, this is our contact details across every platform you can imagine. And you can also always just log into that Ask ACU URL there. You can submit a question. You could search our knowledge database to see if there's anything there that answers your question already. You can chat, you can even SMS. So this is certainly something that's worthwhile. Before we get to too many questions though, I did want to have a chat with Amelia at this point. So as I mentioned, Amelia is a student on our Brisbane campus. She's a Bachelor of Commerce student, and she came to university at ACU via the ACU Guarantee process. So Amelia, first things first, how did you find the ACU Guarantee application process?
Personally, I really liked it because of the flexibility. I liked that how there was such a long period of time that you can apply. So there wasn't an extreme deadline. I was able to go over it, review it, have a good look at the questions and make sure that I was happy with my response.
So you're indicating there potentially that you did do some personal statements. What sort of activities, experience did you include in your statements?
Because I graduated with a COVID year, I spoke about how COVID impacted me. At the time, I was a house captain and I was impacted, wasn't able to do much sporting wise as well. So I was just able to reflect on, my senior year.
Excellent. Did you need any help with the application? If so, how did you go about doing that?
The application was pretty straightforward personally. However, I did contact us, ACU, just to get a little bit more knowledge about offer rounds and just little things that I was unsure about.
Excellent. And a question that we get asked a lot as future students, workers in relation to ACU Guarantee is, what sort of marks did you have in year 11 that you used in your ACU Guarantee application?
So I remember my grade 11 marks were average. Obviously, there were subjects that I enjoyed like majority more of. So that reflected with that. But other than that, I was a pretty average student. And then coming to university, I've really excelled, which is great. Like, I really like seeing that improvement.
And a final question before we take some questions from the listeners today, what sort of support did you receive once you started your course?
So because we are a smaller university, we are able to get that one-on-one connection. So my lecturers personally ask how I am, they offer support, and then along with that, we have all of those great opportunities. So our past subjects, which I really benefit from, and then Studiosity has really helped me a lot as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that, Amelia.
That's okay.
Nice to have you with us. So we have a question from Ben, for Ben, sorry. Do the personal statements have to be written in sentence form, Ben, or are dot points okay?
Definitely either or is fine. So you do only get 200 words for each of the categories. So if you feel like you wouldn't be able to explain that in a sentence, definitely dot points are fine. So that's completely fine. To answer that question, I did quickly put my hand up to just, Amelia, you mentioned Studiosity. I just the group know we are continuing for the 23 intake to provide a lot of support for students in high school to help with your high schooling year. So we will be doing Studiosity again, which is a fantastic tool to help you through your year 12 exams, as long as other programs to start to engage and connect you to the university early.
Excellent. Thanks, Ben. That is very handy for students to know. Another question for you. Are offers made in every round for nursing and paramedicine?
Have a small group of courses that you would consider highly popular and competitive. So to give everyone equal opportunity, we do wait and to make offers to these courses until for this year, it'll be the second last round, which I believe is occurring in late September. Our guarantee website has the offer rounds there, and we also list the courses that are popular. So we do wait to make offers to our competitive programs towards the end.
And another question, which was going to tap into something that I was going to ask based off our conversation, your presentation a little bit earlier. This student would like to know, if I'm accepted into two courses via ACU Guarantee, can I defer both and decide later which one to begin?
That's a good question that has a few different answers. So as I mentioned earlier, you can get multiple offers, and you do have time to decide prior to university commencing. If you got an offer for a really popular competitive course, we do put time limits on you deciding because the university only has a certain amount of spots for those courses. So courses like nursing, speech pathology, occupational therapy, we do ask students to decide often within 2 weeks. Through Guarantee, we can often give you a lot longer because we know you're focusing on year 12. But once you decide if you do want to defer, you can only defer one course is the answer. But if you have multiple, some students might have 3 or 4 offers with us through ACU Guarantee. You pretty much normally will have up until uni starting next year to decide which one you want to go with. The only exception is those popular competitive courses I mentioned that may have a timeline. So if you do have a timeline to accept, we definitely make this really clear in your offer email. So you don't need to worry. We'll let you know.
So another question that kind of, I guess, carries on from that, are the offers more common for specific courses?
We're certainly able to make more of them. So we're limited to the amount of offers we can make in competitive courses just because there are a limit of spots. But that's just similar to your normal TAC application through UAC, for example. So almost all the same courses we offer through the UAC application process are in ACU Guarantee. We're making, in most cases, just as many offers. It's just for some of those really popular courses, to make sure we don't have too many students, we have to make a limited amount of offers there.
And are any offers made that are conditional?
It's a good question. So there are some courses that you will get a conditional offer for. In New South Wales and the ACT, a lot of our courses don't have subject prerequisites, but there are a few. So probably the most common ones are speech pathology, occupational therapy, and biomedical science is another one that comes to mind. So you won't need to meet a specific ATAR in year 12, but you will need to pass a year 12 science subject, for example, or perhaps a maths. So again, we make this really clear in your guarantee conditional offer email in this case, what requirements you still need to meet. We then wait for your year 12 results to come out, and then we can often change your offer to a full offer before Christmas.
Excellent. And a question about offers and preferences. Are offers made to first and second preferences or just to one preference at a time? Will an offer be made to a second preference if a first preference is given an offer?
Another good question. So we'll only make you one offer each round. So the way we assess your application is that whatever you've got first, we're assessing you for that first. If you're perhaps not eligible for your number one preference, we then go down to your second preference. And we also, what we do, for example, if you applied for 2 courses, you didn't get into either of them, we actually look at suitable pathway programs for you at the university, and we make you a suitable pathway offer. So our goal through the program is to make students as many offers, as many students as we can and offer to university to give you an opportunity for next year. So we're also looking to do that when we can.
So if you got an offer, are you able to then go back and change your preferences to receive more like in UAC, or do you just get the option to accept one offer?
Yeah, no, definitely. So you can get multiple offers. So for example, I'll use Amelia's example of doing commerce at the moment. So if you got an offer for commerce in one of the early rounds, you might choose to remove that completely from your preferences and try and apply for new courses. So that won't change your offer with us. So you can apply for multiple courses and get multiple offers.
Yeah. Sorry, Ben. If Amelia was to accept that offer, for example, would that mean she'd get no more offers under ACU Guarantee?
No, you'll still receive offers. And probably another question that might come my way is, will it affect my UAC application? Will it stop me getting offers at other universities? The answer is no, it definitely won't. So even if you got an offer through ACU Guarantee, you chose to accept and perhaps enroll later in the year, you're still going to be considered by us through UAC and also through other institutions through UAC. So that's probably the important thing I want to probably get across. If you do apply for one of those courses that does have limited spots, and we do give you a timeline to accept, you can feel rest assured that if you did enroll and accept that offer, it's not going to stop you being considered elsewhere. It's not going to stop you getting other offers, and you can change your mind at a later date. It'll give you the comfort of knowing you've got that place with us, and you can still weigh up your options towards the end of the year.
Thanks, Ben. Question from the audience is, in regards to applying through UAC, would the lack of personal statements impact the chances of receiving an offer?
No. So through UAC, there are a lot of schemes, adjustment factor schemes that both us and other institutions use. So there through UAC, there are equity schemes where you can outline your circumstances. We have similar adjustment factors, school bonuses, subject bonuses. There's the school's recommendation scheme. So we've modeled it off the TAC process, really, ACU Guarantee, and you can be eligible for adjustment factors through both processes.
Excellent. I think I've come to the end of questions from the group, unless our team of moderators has anything that they want to. Oh, here we go. Does your offer preference need to be the same as your QTAC first preference?
So that's a really good question, and one I'd love to answer. The answer is no, and we would like you not to have it as the same preference. So what can happen if you apply through ACU Guarantee and you get an offer for, I'll use your example again, Amelia, commerce. If you were to put that that course as your top preference in UAC, for example, you would end up getting another offer, and there's really no point to it. So you can definitely, you don't have to preference that course. And it'll keep you out of the running for other options that you might want to apply for as well.
Okay, and if you're unlucky enough to not get an offer under ACU Guarantee, will everybody who has already applied be told if they did or didn't get an offer in the first round? If you've been assessed in the first round and you've missed out, are you still considered later on?
So we don't let students know if you're unsuccessful after each round. This is mainly because assessment can take various lengths of time depending on the course. We're also trying to find suitable pathway programs for students throughout the cycle. So what we do wait till the end of the program to let people know if they were unsuccessful. If you were unsuccessful, obviously this may be disappointing, and I understand that, but I definitely would still encourage you, even if it was the same course, to apply through UAC. This entry program is based on your Year 11 results. Things can change year to year. Adjustment schemes are different through UAC. So I would definitely don't lose all hope, even though it may be disappointing. And you can certainly be considered through UAC later in the year.
Yeah, and I think before we move on to the next question, as a future students professional, I would add to that as well that if this isn't the pathway that works for you, UAC is, or QTAC is still there for you, and there are other options. So at every point in this process, if you're not getting to where you are hoping to be, then get in contact with us through Ask ACU, and we can point out other avenues or what path you should take to get to where you want to be. So certainly, don't let this be the thing that discourages you if it doesn't work out for you. Ben, when you're assessing applications, do you look through UAC applications at the same time as you do ACU Guarantee round offers?
No, we don't. It's not considered at this early stage. I know a lot of you may have already applied through UAC. A lot of students will soon be applying through QTAC. Those tax your applications based on your Year 12 results, and they're not there. So it's not something that we're considering at this stage. We're purely looking at you as a student from your grade 11 results at the moment. And your personal statement and any adjustment factors that you might be eligible for.
Excellent. And do you still have to apply through QTAC if you're successful in early entry?
No, not for our scheme. So you'll either get an unconditional offer that you can enrol later in the year once we open enrolment in October, or if you do get a conditional offer, we'll be able to see your Year 12 results later in the year and convert it to a full offer. We'll do our extreme best to have these done prior to Christmas. If not, it'll be very early in January that we finish going through any conditional offers.
Excellent. And we've kind of talked a little bit about this, but just to make it really clear, if you don't get offered on a specific course in rounds 1 and 2, is it still possible to be given an offer on that preference in later rounds?
Yeah, most definitely. So I know it's an anxious time to wait, and there are 5 or 6 rounds throughout the process. But as I said, assessment can vary depending on the course. In some states, students have to upload the documents themselves of their semester reports, end of year reports. So these do take time to assess, for us to calculate your predicted ATAR, to look at your personal statements, any teaching questionnaires, nursing declarations. So definitely let the cycle play out, because assessment can be varied, and we'll let everyone know at the end if they were unsuccessful.
Thanks. Being on Canberra campus, I get asked this one a lot. And, I don't know to what degree you'll be able to answer this question, but what sort of grades in Year 11 and 12 are competitive for the Bachelor of Nursing, Bachelor of Paramedicine? This student is a New South Wales HSC student, had A and B grades for Year 11. Can you answer that specifically, or?
I probably can't get specific to a course and campus level, but
Yeah.
I can explain the scenario of their extremely good results. And for competitive programs, and especially Canberra, one of our smaller campuses, we do have to be very careful how many early offers we give for a popular course. We need to leave enough offers through UAC to make sure we're giving equal opportunity to both school leavers and non-school leavers. So for that reason, the students that may be successful for a competitive course like that through Guarantee, the grades that those students have, they might actually be a lot higher than what you needed through UAC later in the year. So I wouldn't want to define that now and give it a yes or no, because it really comes down to how popular it is for students applying, how many offers we can make for that particular campus. But as I said, certainly I wouldn't lose hope about applying for that course in UAC later in the year. So I hope that sort of answers the question. But yeah, it's very hard to give a detailed response for an individual course.
Yeah, I think the response that I always get for that course is, you can only put in an application and wait and have a conversation with us about other options if ACU Guarantee or your ATAR doesn't pan out. So we can certainly help with that through Ask ACU. I'm going to answer one question. I'm going to ask you a question in a second, Ben, but there's a question that's come through that says who will find out in the first round if they got an offer. We might need that just to be a little bit more clarified. We are at the published end time of this webinar, but we know that this is a popular topic, so we can go, 10 minutes over. But if whoever put that question, if you could clarify what you mean by that, that would be great. Ben, on the UAC website,
have a quick go at answering that if you like.
Yeah, I mean, well, I would assume it would mean anybody who got an offer, because we're not telling people.
I think popular courses, obviously, we mentioned they're going to be done at the end. The comment I wanted to make quickly was that the offers that are going out tomorrow, the majority are for students in New South Wales. Students in Queensland, because you have to upload your results, assessment takes a lot longer. A lot of the offers that we'll be making this week will be to students based in New South Wales.
Okay, and that's the US. So New South Wales and ACT, or just New South Wales?
ACT results come to us at various stages throughout the cycle, so they can often be made towards the end. But yeah, we're hoping there's not too much of a delay this year.
Awesome. I've got to look after my Canberra peeps. On the UAC website, it states the graduate entry bachelor courses. Does this include all bachelor courses available through UAC?
It does. So our graduate entry, so the main example, we have a Bachelor of Laws graduate entry course. So that to actually be eligible to enter into this course, you need to have finished a bachelor prior. So graduate entry, it's normally referring to a prior study that you've done a prior bachelor. So that's sort of what that means. So being in Year 12 high school, most students would not have had an opportunity to complete a bachelor yet.
Yeah. And roughly, I don't know if you'll be able to answer this question, but roughly how many ACU Guarantee offers do you make for nursing at North Sydney?
Yeah, I probably can't specifically answer that, and it is changing each year to year as we learn as an institution. So we're now in our third year. In our first year, we weren't really sure if everyone would accept their offer or if half the students would accept, and we're slowly learning each year that we offer the program. More and more institutions are offering early entry schemes. So it's one of those courses where we do have limited spots. So we've always been very cautious, but I can definitely tell you now that this is our third year, we've had quite good learnings, and we'll be making quite an abundance of offers for nursing in North Sydney this year.
Great. And some keen beans who want to sit by the internet tomorrow, is there a time that offers will be released tomorrow?
So I think I may have mistaken this. You will actually get your emails Friday morning. So I will update the website with that date. So we make the offers tomorrow, but your email comes overnight Friday morning. So I will make sure our ACU Guarantee website's updated, but you will get it early Friday.
And speaking of the ACU Guarantee website, is that how we will find out which courses are available, which round, like which offers will be made for courses?
Yeah, so in the FAQs, we let students know which courses we're holding back until a later round. And we also let students know which courses are not participating in the early entry program. Otherwise, we make offers to all of our other courses at any stage through all of the rounds.
Okay, I think that our questions are starting to slow down. And I think Ben's done a great job of answering anything and everything. So we will start. Oh, wait, no, we do have another one. Thank you, Carol. While Carol is typing that in, we will start to wrap up soon. You can continue to ask questions to Ask ACU. You can also come along to our open days where there will be people available to answer questions. So we're kicking off this weekend on the 30th of July in Blacktown. Brisbane and Strathfield are the following weekend on the Saturday, Melbourne on the Sunday, North Sydney, Saturday the 13th of August, and then Ballarat on the 14th and Canberra, lucky last, on the 20th. So Ben, if I really want an offer for a competitive course, should I have that as my first preference? Or does that mean I won't get offers for my backup option? This is the golden question. Do you try and play the game, or do you just follow your heart?
I would definitely recommend having it as your first preference, because even at these early stages when we're not making offers to the really competitive courses, we'll often make students an offer to the second preference while you're waiting. So I definitely would recommend having it as your first preference. And as I said, even if your second preference was a very competitive course, we try and make a suitable pathway program to you if we can. And there was another quick question, I will answer it. It's slightly not to do with ACU Guarantee, but the question was, would a diploma of business help get into non-business related courses? So the answer is yes, through the normal TAC application process. So ACU Guarantee, we only look at your year 11 results for subjects that would contribute towards getting an ATAR. But through our regular TAC process, QTAC, UAC, etc., we give you a selection rank on the basis of completing a diploma. So it can definitely help you, not just for a business course, any course that you're applying for.
And I will just add to Ben's commentary there about preferences. That advice applies to UAC as well. Please don't try and outsmart the system. The system is not trying to trick you. You have preferences for a reason, and that reason is that you can put your first preference first and still be considered for other courses. So please always put what you really want as your top preference. Don't try and play the game, because you have preferences for that reason. Ben, if somebody puts in an application tonight, will it be considered for an offer tomorrow, or are they a little too late?
Unfortunately not. So we have locked in those offers today. Everything always happens a day or two prior. But definitely if you were to apply before the weekend, there's another round in 2 weeks' time. And there'd be an excellent chance you'd be considered in the next offer round in 2 weeks.
Okay, and this is absolutely the last question. I'm sorry, everybody who is coming up with questions in their head. As I mentioned before, you can contact Ask ACU and ask these questions as well. Ben, can you change your preferences after submitting?
Yeah, definitely. So there's a manage dashboard where you can manage your application. So you'll see there's a tab there, preferences. So you can change your preference at any stage. You can move your second to first, or your first to second, or you might want to bring in a new course altogether. So between now and towards the end of September, when it closes, you have a lot of opportunity to go in and change your preferences.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Ben and Amelia, for sharing your experiences and your knowledge with all of us. This is a really exciting program for prospective students, and there are obviously a lot of questions and anxiety around it. For everybody who does have an offer in, good luck in the offer rounds. I hope those of you predominantly in New South Wales and the ACT get some good news tomorrow. And for everybody else, just be a little bit patient, and remember that Ask ACU is there for you to reach out to and ask any further questions you do have. This webinar has been recorded. You can use the link that you have dialed in on today to rewatch it. You can also, we'll be uploading it to our website in the future. There is a ACU study and pathways webinar as well that talks about other pathways. Wait, Ben's got his hand up.
Sorry.
No, you're right.
One
Go
last
for it.
comment from me.
Yes.
I just wanted to really reiterate that this is the first round. To give everyone an example, last year we made close to 10,000 offers through ACU Guarantee. So almost 8,000 students got at least one offer to study at ACU in 2022. This is the first round. There's only not a small amount, but I just wanted to reiterate that the offer round this week, it's early. It does take time to assess. So definitely don't be disappointed or wonder where your offer is. I think off the top of my head, there's 600 or 700 offers we're making this week. So when you put into context that we made almost 10,000 last year, we have a long way to go, and I just wanted students to know that, and definitely don't be disappointed.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks for clarifying and confirming that, Ben, because it could simply be the case that somebody just hasn't read it yet, because when you have impact statements, people have to read and assess those. So yeah, please, nobody think that if you don't get an offer tomorrow, it's the end of the road for you. But yeah, I think we will wrap up there. Thank you very much to everybody who has joined us tonight. Good luck with your applications. Please do come and join us at an open day. We would love to see you, and we look forward to hopefully welcoming many of you to ACU in 2023. Have a lovely evening.